Hello, everybody. It's Stewart A. Swerdlow
And Janet Diane Moria Swerdlow.
for expansions.com, and this is our news podcast for the first week in December. And they're probably all wondering what we're doing on the surface of the moon.
Probably. Well, you just never know where life is going to take us.
And as you can see, we can breathe the air. There is an atmosphere here.
It's amazing.
But what is even more amazing is the story that came out a few days ago, that the United States actually had a plan to nuke the moon in the 1950s.
Then we wouldn't be standing here.
Well, what would have happened if they nuked the moon? First of all, it would have exploded because it's an artificial object, and it probably would have destroyed a lot of the surface of the Earth. So that's the first strange part of that story. But look at the time period, the 1950s. Does that mean that the U.S. is admitting that back in the 1950s they had the capability of going to the moon and delivering a bomb there? Because supposedly we didn't have that capability till 1969. And why would they bomb the moon? The story was that it was to scare the Russians. Well, I think it would scare a hell of a lot of other people too if they bombed the moon with a nuclear weapon, don't you think?
I would think so.
So that's not the real reason, because they could have nuked Finland. That would have scared the Russians a little bit.
I guess.
Yeah, so I think that's a cover story. I think they knew there was something on the moon, and they wanted to get rid of it, and something was spooking them.
You think they, or you know they know?
Well, I'm pretty sure that, because what happened a year or two ago? They did bomb the moon, remember that? And they said it was to see if there were water molecules that would come up in the debris. Well, they know if there's water under the moon because they've dug down there with the lunar rovers and with the landings on the moon. So,
well, you've been to the moon, and here we are again.
Hello, we're right here, and it was really cheap to get here.
And I can breathe time travel.
Yeah, so eat your heart out, Jesse Ventura, because I'm proving that time travel and space travel is possible. Did you have something to add to the moon?
To the moon? Well, just the fact, as you said, it was secret, and they're always letting out their secret ideas. And of course, this is to the general population. So there really are no secrets that they're telling you. They want you to know this, but anything that's titled secret, they are going to catch your attention, obviously.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell them about the other things going on?
Well, why don't you go? Let's stay with the space stories and see what happens.
All right. Did you know that they are saying that the Curiosity rover actually found evidence of organic compound on Mars?
Well, let me tell you something about that.
Yes.
Are you done with that particular thing?
I am.
Because, but they also said, well, we don't know if it brought that from the Earth and that's what it picked up. Well, if it brought that from the Earth, would it have survived traveling through deep space to land on Mars and then show evidence of being on the surface of Mars? But besides all that, I have, as you know, connections.
Lots of connections.
Yes, some of them hurt when I hooked them in, but still, there is a story that I received from a person who has a connection to NASA, who said that the Curiosity rover actually found or was attacked or bombarded with waves or energy from the Kuiper Belt. So I'm looking into that story a little bit more, and as I get more information, I will report that to you. So that's
you also have contacts in Suriname.
Oh, yeah,
and when we get there, we're also going to find more information.
Yes,
which we will report, perhaps.
In fact, I was just contacted today by an agency in Suriname who heard I was coming and wants to talk to me about certain secret things in the jungle, in the interior.
That are hidden.
Mm-hmm. Not when we get there, they won't be hidden.
Lucky for those people who are coming with us. Is there any room on that trip?
Well, I could squeeze in a couple more people up there, but you got to do it now, today.
Because the airfares are going up.
And there may not be seats available. It's Christmas time.
Same with the hotels.
Yeah. Okay. So hurry up, like today.
Okay. You want another space story?
Why not? Okay. You're kind of spacey anyway.
Not as spacey as you, my dear. Voyager 1. How about that one? The probe enters a new region of space, they're saying, and encounters, now get this one, a magnetic highway.
I like magnetic highways.
Well, the interesting thing is, why are they telling us that? Because remember, in time travel, what happens? We match 2 points together, and boom, you're there, right?
Yeah, boom.
Boom. So magnetic highway, that's a term we have not heard yet, but they're putting that out for your consumption.
Didn't they also say that was an envelope of energy that came out from the sun?
A lot of things
and that it kind of creates this bubble around the solar system.
Something like that.
Yeah. And you know where I heard that first?
Where?
Montauk Project.
Yep. Well, we know about Montauk.
Yes. So even back then they knew.
Of course they did. Then I also heard, get this one, water on Mercury, that NASA announced the discovery of ice at the planet's poles.
I'm glad that you brought that up. Now, Mercury is the first planet in orbit around the sun. If the sun is so hot, how could there be ice caps on Mercury? Well, that doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make
because
sense.
It's cold light, people. The heat only comes when it goes through an atmosphere and reflects off the ground.
Yeah, people don't get that.
They don't get a lot of things.
Well, good thing we're here to tell them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then I have another one for you. They found that the North Star's distance to the Earth is shorter than previously thought.
Well, that cuts a few days off our trip.
It does.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
with
great
mentally,
news.
we just get there like that, so
Yeah.
no big deal. All right, so that I thought was fascinating. Do you have any more space stories? Because I can go right on down. I have alien stories.
Well, you can do all that stuff because I have some Earth stories that are very important for people to know about.
Okay, well, well, I would just have one, but it's kind of a big one, I think, that they are saying that Lake Vida in the Antarctic Peninsula or the Antarctic
We were
continent,
there.
yes, that it says that there is this lake that has been untouched for 28 years, and this may
2,800 years.
I'm sorry, 2,800 years, that may aid search for alien life, because they said that this particular lake, which is buried under ice, it says that it has ancient microbes. How they know?
You know, I have ancient microbes.
I know,
so
but
that's
how
not,
do they
that's
know
not
this?
unusual.
I mean, have they gotten down there? They haven't exactly said. But this is a report in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, and it says the discovery of germs is fueling speculation that life may exist. Now, I don't know how they keep tying Antarctica in with alien.
But also they're tying it in with Mars
Yes.
all the time, so that people,
Right.
that's a clue.
It says that that because of this lake in Antarctica, it says that life may exist on such places as Mars, Jupiter's moon Europa, and Saturn's moon Enceladus.
You got your language.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to quote this one. Lake Vida is a model of what happens.
See, I would have said Lake Vida.
Well, maybe that's it. I know a person named Vida. Maybe that's why I say that. Lake Vida, like Lake Vida, is a model. And what does Vida mean? Isn't that like Latin for life or something?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. So life, there's a reason they named it that, is a model of what happens when you try to freeze a lake solid. This is the very same fate that any lakes on Mars would have gone through as the planet turned colder from a watery past. And this is a quote from Dr. Peter Duran, professor of Earth and Environmental Sciences at the University of Illinois in Chicago. And then he continues, any Martian water bodies that did form would have gone through this Vida stage before freezing solid, entombing the evidence of the past ecosystem, unquote.
Wow.
So I think that's pretty significant. They keep telling
Well, they're
people
also
these
saying
things.
that there was life on Mars, there was water, there was atmosphere,
Yeah.
just like I told you in Blue Blood book how
Right.
many years ago.
Yeah, so, well, you've been telling
I
me
could have saved
since
them
I've
millions of, they could have paid me the millions
Do you
of
realize in
dollars.
this lifeline I've known you almost 20 years? We've been together that long.
Wow,
Close.
I haven't done anything for that long before.
Here we are. Well, nothing that maybe you're proud of.
Maybe we both need to get reupholstered or something.
Maybe so. All right, your turn.
Oh, I have a turn?
You have a turn.
Oh, thank you.
Because I have lots of stuff
So,
here.
but no more space news.
This is my space
No,
news.
because I want to give you very exciting news. You're going to be very happy about this
Am I?
one. Because I'm sure everybody out there knows that Kate Middleton and Prince William are expecting their first child.
Boring.
Not boring, because here's what's going on.
What?
She is in the hospital in London undergoing severe morning sickness where she's dehydrated.
I don't believe any of that.
But listen,
No.
and throwing up. Can you imagine a princess throwing up princess vomit? How disgusting is that? We could actually get that and sell it.
We probably
You
could,
know.
I'm sure.
But you know, why is she so sick? Because they said it's early stages. She shouldn't be sick. Well, if there's a reptile growing in your abdomen, you'd be sick and nauseous too, wouldn't you?
Well,
So-
and the weird thing is, and they put this out there, and they said it was really creepy because she conceived, they say, around the Olympic Games during a night of passion. So why do they put that out there?
Well, they probably have a video that they're going to show.
They probably
on
do
there.
at some point. Wouldn't
Well, they both
surprise
show them naked already, right?
me. That's right.
Yeah.
So-
you know, we should do that too.
No.
No?
No.
Because I think that would get a lot more viewers.
No.
No? Okay, then just me.
Just you will work.
Yeah.
And well, I'm going to have a story about that
How
that's
about-
going to give you the opportunity.
What about me naked on the moon? Or pick a place. I'll bleep in there with my new device, and I'll just
What new device?
the one that got us here.
Okay. Is it my turn again or your turn?
Oh, I could go on.
Go ahead.
Because speaking of sinkholes,
Yeah.
guess what? You remember the New Madrid fault line. The New Madrid fault line, which erupted in 1811 to 1812 with between 8 and 9 points on the Richter scale, 3 major earthquakes that were felt from Canada to Mexico and from Boston to Denver, and actually rang church bells in Boston and cracked foundations in Washington, D.C. Well, that fault line is becoming active again. There have been several moderate quakes in Illinois and Indiana, and of course we know about Kentucky, which happened when I was in Bangkok, and I had the 6.8 earthquake there.
Well, you made that, I'm sure.
Yes, I did, because that's a whole other story. Yeah. But anyway.
And then Obama had to come after you.
Yes, he was so jealous. You know, he's so jealous.
Everyone
Every place I go, he follows
Everyone
after that.
Is jealous
what is up
of you.
with that? Him and Hillary. Come on, get a life. So anyway, there is sinkholes. There are sinkholes opening up from Ohio to Missouri to Illinois, Tennessee. Huge sinkholes, and according to some scientists, this could be a sign of a possible large quake coming. That would be felt from Michigan to Kansas to Louisiana to South Carolina, and they said it could be between 8 and 9 points on the Richter scale. So get your earthquake insurance immediately. And here's the other thing, that huge sinkhole that opened up in Louisiana is now spewing toxic gas, and it's a very strong possibility that there could be a toxic gas explosion. Now, this happened back in the 1960s in the Cameroons in Africa, wiped out everybody. When the gas from a sinkhole or a lake explodes, there are no witnesses because nobody survives. So those of you in Louisiana, I think it's time to move north. It's too hot there anyway. It's very, very hot. A couple of more things involving the Middle East, because that's very important. And that is, as you may know, in January, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, is going to have an election. And the rumor has it that, we should play that Rumor Has It song.
Rumor Has It?
Yeah, who sings that?
You could sing it.
Adele or something like that. Yeah.
You could sing it.
I could, but she'd be embarrassed
jealous,
that I am better than her.
She would be jealous. What can I say?
But the thing is, if he wins the election, rumor is that Israel would attack Iran by the end of spring 2013. And of course, we've heard this over and over again, but apparently they were waiting till the U.S. and Israeli elections are over. It's also rumored that Obama is doing everything he can to prevent Netanyahu from being reelected, or should I say replaced in office. And in alignment with that, what they're doing to make Iran look very bad, or what I think this is an Israeli plant story. But Iran yesterday claimed to capture a U.S. drone over the Persian Gulf. Now, I don't know how you capture a drone that's flying in the air. It must have a very big net.
That's just what I was thinking, a huge net. I could just see it flying into it.
Yeah, but, the Iranians probably have.
I was thinking about that drone that followed you in Russia. I hope we get that picture.
Yes,
posted.
I'm going to get that post. I'm going to bring that up on my computer today and show my webmaster who's here from Italy.
Yeah, maybe the gold members.
Maybe only the gold members and the drone, which did take nude pictures of me, which will probably be posted on Russian websites.
Pretty amazing.
But again, one related story is NATO is sending missiles to Turkey to use at their Syrian border to prevent further infiltration of Syrian army shootings across the border. And at the same time, Russian President Putin is on his way to visit Turkey because Russia and Turkey have had some serious issues with each other. While I was in Russia, the Turks forced down a Russian aircraft that was going to Syria to search it for weapons to Syria. So the Russians were not very happy about that.
I heard Putin was ill.
Well, that's the next thing. There's rumors of his illness that are unconfirmed. But you know what? I have contacts in Russia.
We know.
And I contacted them this
Mr.
morning.
Sverdlov.
Emperor
Sverdlov.
And I contacted them this morning to find out what the heck is going on with Putin. Because as I mentioned a while ago, they did ask me to run for president.
I heard.
So if he's not well...
Maybe there's a reason they want you there.
Yes, and I'm running on a campaign of annexing most of Scandinavia and Eastern Europe.
Tell that to our Scandinavian Eastern Europe.
Oh, they don't mind. They just go
care.
along with anything.
They just want you as emperor, right?
Well, I do anyway. Well, go
That's
on.
it?
Yeah, that's all I have.
Oh.
I didn't have a lot of time today.
You did? Well,
No, because you rushed me.
Unlike you, I've been working hard all week on my stories.
Oh, really? Because I saw you on the phone a
pulling
lot.
things together. Here we go. So the first thing I want to tell you about is we have 4 women who are, and the ACLU.
What letters?
ACLU.
Oh.
Who are suing the Pentagon to open the combat roles to females. Now remember what we tell you.
I want they should send. I have a list of females they can send.
Go.
Yeah.
Well, but remember what I tell you. They make you think one thing so that they can do something else, and you have to fight for it, and they finally let you have it. So personally, I don't think anybody should be in combat. So let's just send another group.
Except us with each other.
That's I'm not in combat with you.
No, right. That's right, because you just shoot to kill, and there's no combat.
That's absolutely not. You know that. All right. So now we know that they're going to be putting women there. So not only are the young men going to be available to go to combat and be killed for sacrificial reasons, now the young women can go and be killed for sacrificial reasons.
So I have a question that you're not going to like the question.
Well, then we'll see.
But I'm going to say it anyway.
Go for it.
What when these women have PMS and they're in battle?
Well, think about it when they're in their periods and they're in battle. What are they going to do? I mean, if you're bleeding heavily from your period, and you can't stop it change.
I haven't had that issue.
It can be horrible, or you're full of cramps. The same thing. So the reason I'm telling you this, I still have cramps. That's true. Because this way you'll watch your question next time that you ask it.
Oh boy.
Okay, the U.S. government is now telling us that apocalypse will not destroy the world in 2012.
Yay!
So stop scaring the kids. And again, they don't usually address things, but the fact that they're addressing it means something.
I scared the kids at Halloween. Every time they rang the bell, I said, the end of the world is coming in December.
Yeah, I know what you did.
All your candy. Eat all this candy now.
Yeah, because you had this big sign in our front yard also that said the same thing.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it's just interesting the government is even addressing it.
Well, also apparently Russia did too. That Russia had to say that it was not the end of the world coming in December, but that Russians still had to go suffer through blizzards, earthquakes, tornadoes, and drought and food shortages. So, I think that's the end of the world anyway. All
right, now here we go. So we're going to have to pretty soon put your earmuffs on. Okay, we'll start out easy on you.
Here we go.
Jamie Foxx called Obama, quote, our Lord and Savior at Soul Train Awards. And that upset the Christians, of course.
Okay.
But
he was probably snorting cocaine when he said that.
Well, they maybe both, because Obama has gone on record as saying he's used cocaine. So our Lord and Savior, we've got that out there for New World Religion. Then today I was reading that there's now an exorcist hotline, which was created by the Catholic Church in Milan.
Milano.
More priests are now available to drive the demons out. That's the headlines.
I want to get them on my cell phone.
Okay, and then before I get into the really heavy stuff, just so you know, I also have a tampon story here since you brought that up.
Well, speaking of the PMS and the soldiers, I hope they're listening.
I hope so, because you can go now to tamponcrafts.com, and you can learn how to make a nativity scene using a tampon to make baby Jesus. Ooh. And this is all over the news on AOL.
Really?
Really.
Blasphemous. They'll burn in hell for that.
Again, how they're putting everything together is like beyond me. It's like, for starters, tampons are really expensive, so why would you go out and make crafts out of them?
Well, maybe they're used tampons.
Some of them look like it, what they've done with them. So anyway, but again, they're bringing all this stuff out for you. Now...
Not literally.
Yeah. Now, like I said, it continues to get weirder and weirder.
I know. I can see that next story. I just can't even believe. How do you find this?
First of all, in Zurich, Switzerland, I guess prostitution is legal, which I didn't realize.
Most of Europe it's legal.
Okay. Now they have.
That's why I want to live there.
Now they have You want to be a prostitute?
Well, I make a lot more money than here.
They have drive-in sex boxes, so you don't have to get out of your car to have sex. You drive into this box. I guess the woman or man is waiting for you, and
they get in your car with you.
Yes, and then you get out and you leave.
What if your kids are there?
But think about how easy it is to track people if they pull in with their cars and
kids. I'm going through the drive-in sex box. Close your eyes.
So anyway, that's going on in Zurich. Then we
the Swiss are so.
They're very straight. Yeah, you wouldn't think it would be there.
Yeah, really. I bet there's really gypsies doing it.
It could be. Now this one is really something else, and I thought I had more written there. I hope I don't disappoint you.
I hope you don't. I hope you have no more.
There we go.
Oh,
okay.
She has it.
I do.
Darn.
Okay, they're in China. They have a wankathon contest.
Now, are you making fun of Chinese language?
No, that's what they call it, a wankathon
I bet
contest.
they don't call it that
They
in
do.
China.
It's to celebrate the first World AIDS Day masturbation contest.
Woo! Sign me up.
Okay. What you need is a mask and an orange bucket.
Okay.
That's how they lined everybody, the men, so that you don't actually see them. Their pants are down. They're all wearing boxer shorts. They have a little orange bucket at their genitalia
Really?
to do their thing into.
Who invented this?
The Chinese, apparently.
No, but you said it's in San Francisco.
No, I didn't.
Well, I saw San Francisco.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. So then they also all wear masks. And in order to get them in the mood, they have inflatable sex dolls standing there for them to look at. And then I guess whoever's the last one to fill the orange bucket is the winner.
Oh, you have to be the last one.
Apparently, because they're teaching you about sex for one. And remember, I've told you about air sex before. Now
we have that in our book.
Air sex?
No, sex for one.
Yes, true reality of sexuality, but not like this. So anyway, and this is also about doing it for, in public. That's what all this is getting out toward New World Religion, which is why I'm telling you.
Just take the subway in New York. You see that every day.
Well, I've seen stuff in New York. Then I want you to know that in San Francisco, they have an annual masturbate-a-thon.
I knew there was a San Francisco.
There was one in there. But anyway, we don't want you to confuse the Chinese wankathon with the San Francisco's masturbate-a-thon. And then,
wankathon and a masturbate-a-thon.
Yeah, and then in case you want to know, there's also a porn star who is the longest time spent masturbating, who it says pleasured himself for an impressive 10 hours and 10 minutes. So
wow, he must have numb hands.
Dumb hands,
or
maybe.
Other parts, actually.
I'm not sure.
Takes him 10 hours, poor thing.
We're not even going there. All right.
You did.
No, you keep pushing the bar. Okay, then I also told you that bestiality is going to be more common. And so here we have a 20-year-old...
What are you, the new Dr. Ruth?
A 20-year-old, because I'm telling you about New World Religion and all this stuff is coming down the
These poor
pipe.
people, they're getting ready for Christmas and you're telling them these stories.
Maybe this is what they want for Christmas. I don't know. Anyway, there's a 20-year-old girl, I call her a girl, a young woman from Arizona who was arrested and charged with crimes against nature for engaging in illicit acts with her family dogs. So that's, look again, more for bestiality.
Was it a dog or just a really ugly boyfriend?
She told her boyfriend, and she told him it was family dogs, from what I hear. Now, this is another thing. This is a trend, a wedding trend, which, again, I never heard about, but a blogger on Huffington Post wrote about it. Animal mask weddings. It says that it's ruining the sexuality because instead of staring lovingly into each other's eyes, they're staring into masks. And these are full-bodied masks, or full-headed masks.
I saw pictures of
horses and tigers and goats and white rabbits and all kinds of programming sorts of triggers. So I thought that was pretty incredible, what's going on. And then I also told you last time...
I'd want a scorpion mask.
Well, how about a full bodysuit for you? Anyway, the breast cancer study.
With an orange bucket in it.
Yeah, if that's really what you want, my dear. I told you last time about how they were plucking out all the female organs and about women having the double mastectomies because that's what is happening in their family. So they're just lopping off both their breasts. Now they're saying that maybe patients are too quick to have a double mastectomy. From one thing to another, because they're saying that a woman finds cancer in one breast and then she just takes the other one off so she won't get it. Well, as we've told you before, it's all a function of mind pattern. If you're doing our work,
that's right.
You have a lot better chance of not having this hit you to start with, and if it does, then a lot better chance of pulling yourself out of it when you do your work on your mind and the things that you're carrying in there. Other story, which is a really big one. Now I'm going to get onto some programming. This was the light programming. Now we're onto the deeper programming.
Good. Let's get out of the sex stuff.
Well, wait, no, I'm not promising that, but we'll get started. James Holmes, you may have read this story that he was blaming his therapist for brainwashing him to kill. And apparently, now this is how they talk about the witness, a drug-abusing inmate unleashed wild allegations claiming that the suspected movie theater gunman said his therapist brainwashed him to commit murder.
A drug-abusing inmate, that's a very reliable source.
Right, but it's just interesting that they put out there that this is going on. So I want you to hear that.
Of course, they probably put the drug-abusing inmate part in there so people would say,
right, it's just all nuts. But yet they always have to tell you the truth. Remember that. There has to be an outlet somewhere. So the truth is out there, you just have to look for it. This is kind of back to animals, but I put it under programming because, again, another young woman, 22 years old in Vancouver, BC, who admitted to taking delight in killing animals and fantasizing about shooting homeless people, is going to be released on probation with strict conditions.
She sounds like a lovely person.
That's like how weird. And it says, but she's going to require lifetime supervision.
Right.
And they described her doctors described her as a sexual sadist and narcissist with antisocial personality disorder and sociopathic tendencies.
Oh, you think?
But they're releasing her. So this
she's probably going to be a nanny.
Well, we're going to be reading about her later on, unless they change her identity or something, because the judge says it's clear she's a unique and troubling case and probably one of the most comprehensive probation orders I've ever done. So why put her on probation? See, this doesn't make sense. Why put her back into society? Okay. Oh, I should maybe put this one in with the mass stuff, because this is another very strange one. The news is full of strange things, so I'm just pulling out these ones that are showing you the main tendencies. The Teletubbies are returning. Remember when you wrote about
those? What happened to them? They've gone
fired a long time ago. Well, Tinky Winky. You remember Tinky Winky?
Well, I had lunch with him like 3 days ago.
There you go. Riley Sheehan is Detroit Wings, whatever. Let me see. Some player in there. He was arrested as being super drunk. And, of course, he's only 20 years old, which is not legal driving age.
He's a professional drunk.
And apparently Michigan has laws against super drunk. So he's like 3 times the limits, or maybe twice the .0 limit deemed illegal for driving on Michigan roads. But the weird part was he was dressed like Tinky Winky.
Well, that's who he is.
And again, a 20-year-old, doing these things. So something's going on with this
Tinky
man.
Winky doing a wanky?
I'm not sure. But this is, again, these are all young people. They all have a lot of issues. They're bringing up stuff from the past. So again, watch what's happening to our young people. Then we have zombies, because we can't report the news without zombies. And I'm trying to look for the thing, or find the things that are new. I did tell you about zombie ammunition way back when.
There's zombie ammunition.
There is. And apparently it's a big seller. And apparently now they're claiming that zombies are making people buy more guns because they want to use zombie targets.
Not because they really think zombies are real.
Well, it's just weird. They just... they're doing everything to incite people, to arm people, to get them on the edge, which if you're reading my holiday blog, you're hearing some of this. And here we have...
Well, they could just come live with me. They'll be on the edge.
They will be on the edge. What's this name? This is...
Savanovich. Sava Savanovich.
Okay, he's a vampire who may be on the loose in Serbia, and their public health council...
And say that he is a vampire.
Yeah, the public health council is actually warning people. And their mayors, or let's put it this way, local municipal assembly member actually told ABC News that, quote, people are very worried. Everybody knows the legend of this vampire, and the thought that he is now homeless and looking for somewhere else, and possibly other victims, is terrifying people. We are all frightened. So they're taking this very seriously.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him, actually.
Yeah, and they said apparently his home where he normally lives is burned down or something. So that worried the people. And then they go on to say how the rest of the world is laughing at us, but we think it's really true.
Because he's been biting people for centuries.
Well, and as you all know, if you can envision it, it exists somewhere. So we can't say that he doesn't exist exactly either.
I bet he's related to Prince William.
He might be, for all we know. Okay, then I want to tell you about what some people want to hear, which is immortality. Now, immortality is something that they've talked about how the DNA can replicate. And again, they're talking about people can live forever. And they introduce this in a variety of ways. Now they're telling you about a jellyfish that lives forever by continually reverting to the first stages of life. Now,
I bet he's not married.
Probably not, because I think they're self-reproducing, if I remember about jellyfish, but I don't know.
Well, she should be in the masturbation contest.
Maybe they are, for all we know. We just need to get them a mask and an orange bucket.
Really?
And a plastic doll. But anyway...
Well, you need a bucket anyway.
The interesting thing is, when we talk to you about you releasing and cleaning up and not aging and all those things, we're really taking you back to the beginning. So read Decoding Your Life, because in there we talk about how to clean yourself up. And they're telling you this in different ways, because the truth always has to come out. And the North Koreans, of course, are thrilled that they have proof that unicorns existed.
I knew it.
Yeah, you knew it. You know everything, don't
you? I want to have a unicorn. If they have proof, I'd like to get one.
Well, that's what they claim, so we're going to find out. And I'm sure we'll hear more. Or you never know. Sometimes it comes and goes.
North Unicorn.
That's possible.
It's a North Unicorn.
Maybe that's why they have the proof. Maybe that's why they named the country over after unicorns.
That makes sense.
Then we have Pat Robertson, the controversial televangelist. He's still around.
Wow.
Now, he is breaking it into his many stunned viewers on Tuesday that he dispelled the idea held dear to many biblical creationists that the earth is only 6,000 years old.
Yeah, because he's like older than that.
Because he says that Christians should not cover up scientific evidence that shows the earth to be much, much older because they have a difficult time sometimes with the age of dinosaurs.
Right, which they say maybe never exists. I know there's a religious group that claims dinosaurs never existed.
Well, and then, of course, we have places like the Bosnian pyramids where they're talking about they're like 40,000
but you
over
see, this is all part of
Christianity.
mainstream Christianity, blending into the scientific, pseudo-scientific New World religion. That's what that's about.
And then we have changing history, which we know goes on all the time.
Right.
Texas, of course, is for some reason when new textbooks come out here in the U.S., they always come out in Texas first. So there must be a reason.
Yeah, because they hijacked the trucks.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they're telling now that the Boston Tea Party was an act of terrorism.
Well, wouldn't you think?
And terrorism was not a term that we used growing up. And we were always taught that it was a very patriotic act, that we had taxation without representation.
But you know what? Now that we have a time machine, we can go back and prosecute them.
We could do that. So taxation without representation. In fact, we could participate in the Boston Tea Party if we wanted.
We should actually take some tea.
We should take some tea.
It's probably not GMO.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, and then, of course, again, changing history, the dolphins, we already have laws in place saying that U.S. citizens cannot interact with dolphins unless you're supervised.
Right, that's why I never talked to my dolphin.
Okay, now we have a Georgia girl who was bitten while feeding a dolphin at SeaWorld. So they're going to make them now seem dangerous, and you shouldn't interact with them for that reason, because they can't stop us another way. So either they agitated the dolphin, which is very possible, because they implant them in the brains.
Yeah, they showed pictures of the dolphin, like a little patch over his eye, and he had like a cigarette hanging out. It was not a nice dolphin.
Okay, then we also have, and I talk about this a lot, of course, with me, tone. Every language is a tone. And of course, as they get rid of the ancient languages, they remove or they encapsulate specific tones from the earth plane.
Right.
Well, now we have, it says Aboriginal languages are being reclaimed by Native Generation Y. And the Nuksulk word for rock, for example,
what's your language?
Sounds like feet dragging over a rocky riverbed. And the person who is a native, when he has to do this, he has to conjure saliva from the back of his throat, splash it against the back of his teeth to make the right sound.
A lot of the elderly people do that.
And the word is impossible to spell out in English. And this gentleman continues, quote, "Our language is formed because of the environment we live in. The English language does not reflect that environment, and it does not reflect the teachings and the spirituality of the land."
Well, he's probably right.
He's absolutely right. He's from Vancouver, BC.
Yeah, but look at the name of that town.
Bella Coola.
Bella Coola. Who named that town?
Bella Coola.
Bella Coola.
And last time I reported, for those of you who remember, I reported about supposedly British royalty visiting this area and taking native people away, and then they were never seen again. So go back and review that story. But anyway, he said, or the reporter who wrote the story said it's impressive that he can pronounce the word at all, and that it's even being spoken.
Oh, maybe he made it up.
And he said that this young man is a part of and it's interesting they're using the word Aboriginals in Canada versus, what do they call them? They can't call them Native Americans.
Native Canadians.
Maybe Native Canadians, I don't know.
A.
They're working to save their traditional tongues, literally, because you have to have certain mouth muscles to even say these things. And they're fighting a tide that threatens to kill the languages off for good. So I think, again, pay attention to the tone, how history is being changed.
I'm seeing something about that next story, Missy.
Well, the reason I'm bringing this up, I told you last time about the fecal implants. And I told you this about a year ago, and I told you about the baby, and I said, okay.
So isn't it enough already?
Well, the interesting thing is I want them to see how fast these tides are changing, and again, the trends. There is now, which I had never heard of this until last week, it's called C. diff. Maybe some of you have Clostridium difficile. And now they're saying that stool transplants could be the standard treatment for this so that people don't die.
I will never get that sick.
Well, it says the reason it comes on a lot is because people take too many antibiotics, which kills off the
that's
natural
true.
flora. And then
That's
they
true.
said, and actually they say 3 million Americans are infected with it,
Mm.
mostly through hospitals, nursing homes, and doctors' offices. They don't have it and they die from it. So what do? They give them more antibiotics. But if that doesn't work, it's telling us that, quote, until recently, fecal transplants have been on the fringes of mainstream medicine. But this doctor is an
Epidemiologist.
okay, with U.S. Centers.
Epidemiologist.
There you go. With the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, it could become the primary mode of therapy within a year or two for patients with multiple recurrences. Okay, now listen
Wait,
to this.
I just had a brainstorm.
You can
We could sell that.
You probably get a lot of money at this point because listen to this. Let me find this part in the article. Okay, listen to this. Transplants of stool from screen donors given by enema colonoscopy or tube down the throat. Okay, restore these bacteria. Tube. But let's see if I can find this in my article. I want to read this to you. If not, I'll tell you. Oh, yeah. Okay, listen to this. Just as blood banks and sperm banks are now commonplace, stool banks may soon dot the landscape.
Yeah, that's called public bathrooms.
Yeah. So isn't this a strange... Something's going on with this too. So, like I said, they're getting you used to a lot of different things you're not used to before. Blood, sperm, and defecating all together.
Everybody's used to those things.
But, yes, but not
just
in the way...
Just not to buy them and use them.
There you go. And that's all has to do with New Age
Again,
religion and ritual.
A business for expansions.
Okay, so we're not going to expand like that. Okay, and the last story
we have a body fluid section.
The last story I have, eating bugs. Now, again, I've been kind of...
Again with the bugs.
Yeah, I've been kind of, again, showing you how they're putting this out into mainstream so you become more used to it, which is interesting. Actually, when we talk about reptilian genetics, we talk about mammalian genetics, and insectoid genetics when we talk about alien life forms,
and
right?
And some of my family.
And we talk about Kuiper belt. So a lot of this really is tied in more ways than what you know. It's preparing you for a lot of things to come that people aren't necessarily, they're not thinking about it. You're trying to pay your bills and work. Okay, now again, where are they going to educate you? In the schools. They have a program they're bringing into the elementary school lunchroom, actually. They have a man, David George Gordon, who is an author, a bug chef, and insectivore. And listen to this one. He uses peer pressure to get kids to eat bugs.
Lovely.
He brings this cooking cafeteria in. He wears a little chef hat with a little antenna on it.
How cute.
And the kids scream at each other as they're debating whether or not to eat the bug.
Right.
Eat it, eat it, eat it, eat it, whether or not the kid can eat it.
You do that to me at dinner sometimes.
They bring the principals in, they bring the teachers in, and they all yell this, and they're talking about how that's what they taste like and how good they are and how nutritional they are. He even has a bottle of ketchup that he holds up, and he says when they process this ketchup, there are actually bugs that fall into it, which we know all about that from manufacturing.
Which is why we don't use the ketchup.
We don't use stuff like that as a general rule. But there are bug parts that get in, and if you look up FDA rules, there are so many bug parts per blah blah, or animal parts per blah blah.
Yes, that's
they
true.
Do. Remember that there was a book written many years ago, when I was growing up, and they talked about the conditions and
the Atlantean times.
No. I can't remember the name of the book, but it was good one. Jungle something. Remember that one?
Vaguely.
It was a good book. But anyway, so now they're bringing all this into to the kids and teaching them at a very early age. They're bringing it in as a delicacy. Remember how the net is cast by the global handlers.
Wow.
So they bring it in as a delicacy, and then they take you downtown as a fear factor, and they give you exotic foods that other cultures eat, and now they're bringing it into the elementary school kids. So they spread their net, and then they scoop you up when you're least expecting it. So, anyway.
So here's a business for us. We have a big ravine full of bugs and poop. We're in business.
We're in business.
We have a constant supply of bugs and poop.
We do. But I also want to tell them they can come here in January.
And have bugs and poop.
Or we can talk to you so that you don't have to participate in all these things that the global handlers are doing. In January, we have our Hyperspace Oversoul Extravaganza. If you're too late for the Suriname trip, I'm not sure. But
do it today.
Better do it today. But the January class is always amazing. And we have a great group of people coming in from all over the world. And we're going to teach you how to find these holes in your foundational mind pattern. We're going to teach you how all of this hyperspace oversoul work can help you with your relationships, with your careers, with your finances. I mean, you name it, it's like a cure-all. I mean, look how perfect and wonderful we are. Especially the pretty one here that I can't even begin to compete with. What can I say? And you've seen time travel. You've seen him in all various locations.
You can bleep anywhere in the existence.
Right, absolutely. It's very easy. Just watch us bleep.
Where are we now?
Take a look.
Take a guess.
All kinds of fun things are going to be happening here in January. So, and also, if you're not a member, our member side is where it all happens. So you need to get that membership. This is only an example of some of the things that we do with your financial support and what's coming up, because what we have planned for you after the first of the year is absolutely going to be an amazing, incredible experience.
I can't even wait.
Well, we can't hardly imagine.
Yeah.
But this is a little preview of what to expect.
Yeah. So save all your poops and bugs and
I notice you don't mention the other things.
What things?
Sperm.
No, I don't want that.
Orange buckets and masks.
No, I don't need that stuff.
Anyway, all kinds of stuff going on out there. You don't want to participate. Know what's going on out there so you don't get sucked in without understanding the ramifications of what they're doing to you and how easily they can infiltrate your mind. And pay attention to the young people. And if you're one of the young people out there, pay attention to your peers, because you must keep yourself in
Actually,
balance.
don't pay attention to them.
Well, yes, they do, because those people are going to need your help. You know, these are the people you're going to be helping someday when they realize what they've done to themselves and they're ready to wake up and become aware, and they won't know the true history and they won't know how to get themselves out or how they got in the middle of things. People come to us when they feel powerless in their life and they want to get control again and they want to have that sense of personal power. So you need to learn this, because at some point you're going to be teaching it to somebody else. Trust me. Okay?
Yes, that's right. And plus, if you want to look pretty.
If you want to look as pretty as him, do our work.
Yeah.
All right.
So I guess that's it for you. You have an appointment. You got to go now.
I gotta go.
You have to bleep right back to Earth.
I have to go back to Earth or wherever it is. Maybe I'll just kind of bounce around the Earth or the universe.
Why don't you do that and send me a postcard from someplace?
Yeah, I'll get on that magnetic highway, and next thing you know, who knows where I'll be.
Yeah, maybe you could actually go back in time and help the Waldensian people.
I'm going to get the giant bugs.
And then you can create this Waldensian empire and then bring it back to modern times.
I probably already have that, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think that's all we have for you for today.
I'm sure that's all you can stand at this point.
Yeah. Well, I could probably stand me more, but
probably.
Until next time, it's Stewart A. Swerdlow
and Janet Diamoria Swerdlow,
future president of the new Soviet Union.
I thought you were emperor.
Well, I have to start out,
with the Earth first, and then you're going on.
Then.
Okay. Do I still get to be in for rest?
No more sex or bugs or poop stories. Then I'll give you a chance.
Yeah, then maybe I can line up. I can get in line.
Okay. Goodbye, people.